I'm in love. Topo Chico in my body, turn up, turn up. We live like it's a movie. All with me for the exclusive. Up in sunscreen, oh so cuties. First in August, that's the two-piece. And my foot's behind the gas. I'm up now, never turning back. These days just go by way too fast. I hope this moment never ends. I live for summer days. Let's take a trip out to the lake. Find us a spot to get away. Got Topo Chico feeling great. Now can we take a break? I've been grinding on a paper chase. Got a 9 to 5 and I can't complain. But I just might take your girl. You know I'm just playing. Just wanna be friends. Sip a little something with our toes in the sand. Summer sun, think I'm in love. Topo Chico in my body, turn up, turn up. We live like it's a movie. All with me for the exclusive. Up in sunscreen, oh so cuties. First in August, that's the two-piece. Yeah, that's the two-piece. Topo Chico in my body, turn up. It's a paradise for you. Wanna make you mine, girl, so that's what I'm gonna do. Happiness bottles and more bangers on the queue. It don't matter where we go as long as I'm with you. Ooh, baby, I wanna see you on the pontoon, baby. Might get a little wet, little 1-2 step if you're feeling okay with me. Can you come lay with me? Come stay with me. Summer sun, think I'm in love. Topo Chico in my body, turn up, turn up. We live like it's a movie. All with me for the exclusive. Up in sunscreen, oh so cuties. First in August, that's the two-piece. Yeah, that's the two-piece. Topo Chico in my body, turn up, turn up.
Oh, wrong one. My bad. Welcome, everybody, to the show. Again, I am your host, Brian Mansell, and I'm a sports media professional. I've been working in the industry for a couple years, and I've got a podcast. And podcast, whatever you want to call it. And I do it live here on Twitch and YouTube every weekday morning here on Twitch and YouTube. We always talk about everything in sports all over the world, all types of sports. There's no limits to anything. There is nothing that we won't talk about. But because of the way the seasons are right now, our focus is currently on football and baseball. We are now touching into basketball a bit now because of what's going on now that the season has begun. So, with the Magic hat on, let's talk about it. So, here's some topics for today that we're going to go over real quick. Our World Series Game 3 preview will be previewing everything that's going on in Game 3 as well as recapping what happened in Game 1 and 2. NFL Week 8 recap. Week 8 was yesterday. I have still not gotten the chance to check out those scores because I've been working tirelessly the last 2 days, uninterrupted, so I have just not been able to do much for preparing for today's show. But I'm still going to give you guys information and stats regardless. Whatever information you need, I got it for you. Don't worry about it. We'll go over everything. College football, Week 9, just passed it just this past Saturday. A lot of stuff happened, a good amount of upsets. We're going to talk about how all that shakes up and what the rankings look like now that these things happened. We'll go over the trade deadline because tomorrow is the NFL trade deadline on Halloween. We're going to talk about some of the rumors going around, some guys that could be moved, that may be moved, that haven't been moved yet. We'll go through all that, some options. And then to close it all out, we'll also have the Monday Night Football prediction, which is tonight. It is the Raiders and Lions in Detroit. And then close it out, final topic, with an opening week review of the NBA. So everything that's happened this past week in the NBA, we'll go over real quick and give what the big things that stand out. It didn't stand out, things could have been better, all that. we'll talk about who's really made their name known. I mean, every team at this point, for the most part, has played about 3 games for most of the teams. I know there's a handful that still like only played 2, but they'll play their 3rd today. And as you guys can see on the bottom, we have I'm trying to fit as many games as I could here in this ticker, but unfortunately, apparently there was a cap on how much information I could put in it. So I'm giving you guys all the information for basketball that I have currently. There is a bunch of hockey too, but I don't think I was able to get all of the hockey stuff in. So you're going to have mostly basketball here, and then it's going to circle back, and yeah, it's going to be a little messy. But if anything, I'll give you guys full information on everything, on all the games airing today in the entire windows, and this way you're not missing anything. But if you guys are new to the show and you're tuning in for the first time, please make sure to follow us on Twitch. We're at 15 followers now, looking to hit 20. Every follow helps us and counts and goes a long way in helping the channel grow down the line. Now, what I will say also is if you're watching this on YouTube, please consider subscribing. That also goes a long way in helping us grow the channel and be able to do more creative content moving forward. So again, I've been, I'll be honest with you guys, I've been working a lot. I've been working I worked the entire weekend. I've got 4 shifts this week. I'm going to try my best to kind of coordinate it around to kind of make the show work one day, every day this week. No guarantees, but I'm trying my best. So I can guarantee you tomorrow, Wednesday, we'll definitely have a show. Thursday, that we may not have a show on Thursday. We may not have a show just because the way my schedule's going, it's looking like I'm going to be working from the time the show is supposed to start until my backup time, which is usually around like 7 or 8 o'clock. So I won't even be home from my job until almost 9 o'clock at night. And I start my job and shift at 11 o'clock. So there's no way I could do in between that. So unfortunately, I don't think we'll be doing a show on Thursday. Friday, though, I'm working a 9 to 5, typical hours. We won't have our normal 11 a.m. show. We'll have a night show, probably aim to do around like somewhere between 7 and 7:30. And we'll do a nighttime show there. And then Saturday, Sunday, we don't do a show. Maybe a play-by-play stream. I don't know yet. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday next week. Monday and Wednesday should be fine. Tuesday next week, more than likely will also be a night show. So we'll go through the whole thing again. It's gonna take time. Okay, the schedule's gonna move around because I'm a freelancer, and that's really how a lot of media people are. We are a good amount of us are freelancers. So our schedules are never consistently the same hours. It just goes on whatever the supply and demand is. It always goes that way. So just so you guys know, that's how the media industry works. But yes, that is essentially what the situation is. So there's a good chance we're probably not going to have a show on Thursday. We'll have one tomorrow and Wednesday. No, none on Thursday. A night show on Friday. And that's it. And then we'll go right back to next week, and we'll go right into starting Monday again with the morning show. Now, we are going to get started here. We're going to go into World Series Game 3 preview. Let's start off with what happened in Games 1 and 2. We'll go through those first. Now, I'm not going to pull up any highlights, but we did have a good conversation about this last time we had the show airing. We had a long conversation about the way things have been trending, if you guys know what I mean. So what I mean by that is you would start... Here's how I'll put it. Okay? These first couple games that they played, we talked about the pitching matchup with Gallen in Game 1 and how important it was for Gallen to be at his best because it will come back to bite him if he's not. And actually, he wasn't doing terrible in the game. The problem was they didn't have the run support, and then the bullpen threw it away. So essentially, this is what happened. The Diamondbacks in this one, I'm not going to pull up the highlights. We're just going to talk it out. So Gallen wasn't credited with the loss, but he actually had a decent game overall. Like, this is what I mean. Gallen pitched 5 innings, but he still was struggling again. 3 earned runs on 4 hits, 4 walks, 5 strikeouts. A cleaner-ish game, but it just was not, again, not a normal start for Gallen. Not a good performance. They used a bunch of the bullpen, and then Seawald, in a rare instance, choked the game away and allowed Texas to tie it after taking a substantial lead, and in extra innings, Adolis Garcia walked it off with a solo homer. So, yeah, it was not good. Not good. And it just didn't end well for Arizona. Texas got the win. Eovaldi didn't have a great start himself either. 5 earned runs on 6 hits, one walk and 8 strikeouts. Didn't make it a full 5. And the bullpen did their job, though. They did not allow the Diamondbacks to score a single run the rest of the way and only allowed 2 hits and struck out 6. They did their job, took care of business. There was no issues from Texas's bullpen. Arizona's bullpen is what slipped. A blown save by Sewald, and then Castro in 5 pitches allows the walk-off homer. Just was not their night. They were not having a great night. And then you go to Game 2, and it's a different story. Game 2, they brought in Merrill Kelly, which I told you guys, if Kelly pitches against Montgomery, it's going to be a good matchup, but I think Kelly has the edge. Kelly's been more consistent in this postseason than Gallen has. And it definitely showed to be true because Kelly pitched a gem. 7 innings pitched with 3 hits, 1 earned run, 9 strikeouts. He had a great game. Montgomery, on the other hand, he didn't look too hot. 6 innings pitched, he had 9 hits, 4 earned runs, 1 walk, not a single strikeout. So he really was struggling a lot, and in the end, it was Arizona who came out victorious in this, a blowout, if you must say. 9-1 victory in the end. There was only 1 run scored. It was given up by Kelly. The bullpen took care of everything else. And that was it. Yeah, and that run came in the 5th inning for Texas. That was a solo homer by Mitch Garver. And so you go back to Texas and you look at what happened with the pitching. Again, Andrew Heaney. They went to the bullpen. Heaney and Dunning did fine. They didn't allow any runs. Maybe 1 hit and a walk. That was it. And 1 inning pitched. And then Chris Stratton allowed a run on a hit and 1 strikeout. And then Martin Perez comes in. And in just over an inning, he had 4 earned runs on 5 hits, 2 walks, and a strikeout in 39 pitches. Not good at all from him. And they went absolutely ballistic in the 8th and 9th, going nuts with the scoring. So Arizona just went on and flexed their muscles and showed that they can fight and that they can pitch. Now, Game 3 today, big challenge here with this one. Okay, I won't do as much of an in-depth review for this one like we did on Friday. But I'll give you guys the full info you got to know about the Rangers and Diamondbacks game. I'll give you everything you got to know. So let's start with this. With the Rangers, right? Going into this game, you got Scherzer versus Fod. Fod is pitching for the Diamondbacks, and for the Texas, it's Scherzer. Fod has been the hottest pitcher in baseball in postseason. He's been the hottest pitcher in the postseason, one of the hardest guys to hit off of, easily playing his best baseball at 26 years old. Ridiculous, by the way. Still ridiculous to me. And Scherzer, not doing well. He is struggling big time. And if there's a time for him to get back on track, he needs to do it now. They're on the road in Arizona. They have not lost on the road yet this postseason. They have one of the longest streaks in MLB's history in the postseason for postseason road wins. If they want to continue this trend, they've got to win again, and they got to win this game specifically. They don't win this game, they're in trouble. I mean that so seriously. They will be in serious trouble if they don't have it. So we really have to be prepared for... They have to be prepared for this game. If he's not prepared, they will lose this. They will lose this game. Now, Scherzer, we all know, is a historic pitcher, guaranteed Hall of Famer, one of the most decorated in the game that's still playing today at 39 years old. But he had a lot of health concerns since he's joined Texas. Hasn't been able to stay on the field. When he's been on the mound, he hasn't been himself. Since coming over this year, when he was with the Mets, let's go with this. When he was with the Mets this year, before he came over, he was at a 4.01 ERA. He was not pitching his best baseball. He comes over, in 8 games pitched with Texas, he's got a 3.20 ERA. In the postseason, though, he was, in history, from his time in Detroit back in 2011, he has been a really, really decent postseason pitcher. In fact, his best years were probably that season with... You could go with that 2012 season with Detroit was probably his best year pitching in the postseason, or even 2019 with Washington, even 2021 with the not the COVID year, the year after, with the Dodgers. But he was bad last year with the Mets in the one game he did pitch, and he has not been great pitching now in the postseason. His second highest ERA he's had in the postseason in his career. Now, that it doesn't seem like much, depending on how often he goes to the postseason. Well, He went 4 times with Detroit, 3 times with Washington, once with LA, once with the Mets, and now once with Texas. In collective total, that's 10 postseasons. In 10 seasons, he's been to the postseason to pitch. This is the second worst pitching performance he's had in a postseason in his career. At his age, it's raising alarms. It should raise everything up. Now, again, it doesn't negate the fact that, his age could be catching up to him. But let's look at the bat versus pitch. Really dive in and see how he does against these guys. Well, lucky for him, he does very well against most of these guys. For example, guys like Lourdes Gurriel. Gurriel does not hit off him. That's a 1.25. Evan Longoria has a career 136 against Max Scherzer. Jace Peterson, 185. Tommy Pham, 130. Ketel Marte, 111. Perdomo never gotten a hit off him in his career. Same goes for Emmanuel Rivera and Pavin Smith. The only guys who've registered a productive hits, Alec Thomas, Christian Walker, and Corbin Carroll. That is it. But if you're talking about guys who have hit on him multiple occasions, more than once, it's only a handful. It's the guys that have faced him multiple times, which is Longoria, who's gotten him, even though he has a 136 average. Peterson, who has a 185, has hits on him, and same goes for Pham, 130 average, but has 3 hits in his career against him and 23 at-bats. This should be, if Max Scherzer can be the Scherzer of old and pitch like a dominant guy he is, that we know he is, Texas should win this game. If he goes back to how he's been pitching, that's where the problems will come up. Now, another thing I will say is that we talk about a lot about what Fod's done with this team, with this unit, right? As part of the Diamondbacks in this postseason. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to actually go up and I'm going to take a look at Max Scherzer's, I'm going to grab what he's looked like in 2023 Texas highlights. I'm going to get his highlights with Texas real quick, and you guys are going to look over his pitches. And you guys will take a look at his stuff that he did. And I guess we'll look at, let's see. What could we look at? Would you guys rather want to see him, let's see, him tossing 7 strong for his 8th consecutive win back against Oakland? Or would you rather see it up in when they complete the sweep back in August with Scherzer in his first start, which was against, who was it? It was against, it looks to be the White Sox. Just confirming it's the White Sox. Yes. So would you guys rather, I think we're going to go with the White Sox clip. He comes over to the White Sox 2 months ago. We use the highlights from that to see what his pitches look like. This is how we're going to get a good read on him. I'm grabbing the highlight clip now. As we pull up the highlight screen, host only, as you guys can see, this is our highlight window where I have to constantly update the YouTube window to make sure you guys can actually see what I'm reviewing. So, here we are. There it is. And I'm going to pull it up now, and we're going to control it from here. So this is the video. Let's take a look at his pitching mechanics. What makes Scherzer so different? What is the deadliest pitch he's got in his arsenal? Well, when he winds up and you see this delivery, this one, he can't hit that. And that's an 84-mile-an-hour pitch. You're talking probably one of those great curveball motions. He really can't hit that. One of those breaking ball motions that are just it's so beautiful. And that fastball, it's losing its velocity, and that comes with age. But you know what? It still hits beautiful spots in the zone. He has his location down. His inside pitches are good. He just knows where to put it to tie a guy up. And he's great. He was always been great at putting it in the right spot and getting a good pace of the at-bat. Like that pitch right there, look at this decision. He's thinking it's going to drop a little bit further and ends up staying above the bat. And then this pitch just goes straight into the dirt, and he's thinking it's going to stay in the zone. It just keeps sinking and cutting, and he doesn't expect it. And that one, his motions are always changing with every pitch. It's so fascinating to watch Scherzer pitch. Because the way the ball moves is always different out of his hand. No pitch is the same. And that one was a fastball that he thought was going to sink because he's been throwing a lot of breaking balls in this one and been catching him off guard. And he's throwing blazers. Blazers and changeups. He's getting them off with changeups that are going straight, and they're expecting the changeup to break, and it doesn't break. It's actually interesting. Here's another really good breaking ball right here. He just doesn't see it. He just doesn't see it coming. One of the tightest spins I've seen for a baseball. It's just really fascinating to watch him pitch. It really is. And that, I'm just going to cut off right there. So that's what you see when it comes to that. So let's look up something else. Let's look up Max Scherzer. Let's see what games he pitched, right? I think that's the important thing we want to know. What games did he pitch in this postseason so far? We'll go with the most recent one to understand really what were the mistakes he was making and see how the Diamondbacks can capitalize on those same mistakes. Let's go to his game log. Take a look at his games he's pitched. He pitched him 2 games against Houston in the prior series. He lost the first one, won the second one. We'll go off the performance that was more problematic, which will be the first one, which was on a Wednesday. They lost the game 8-5. I'm sure that was probably game 3. Yes, it was. That was game 3 where Houston started their comeback. Beat Texas in Texas, the first one of the series. So it's 2-1 Texas. But this game was a rough one for them, big time. I mean, you're telling me that was when he pitched up against Christian Javier. 5 earned runs, 5 hits in 4 innings with a walk and 4 strikeouts. So we'll go through that, and I'll show you guys the differences. Because something's off between, I guarantee you there will be something different between that pitch and a different pitch. So let's go back to ALCS Game 3 highlights. We're going to have it right here, guaranteed. Let's pull it up. As I go back here, I'm getting it in order for us so you guys can see it. Let's see. Let's get the Scherzer clip up here. So they're talking about Scherzer early in this one, just to like talk about like all the cool stuff he's done, right? And like all the amazing accomplishments he's done in the postseason. Last time he faced the Astros was with the Nats in the World Series in a Game 7 that won the Nats the national title. You know, they won the World Series at that point. Now here we go in his first start. This is Scherzer at the plate up against Bregman. Let's see what's different with this pitch. He got this one, and they like this team has some home run hitters, but they're more of like a quick team. Like they're like they'll play a little bit of small ball. They're fair balanced in small ball and power hitting. That's the cool thing with the Astros. They've always been that way. But we're gonna skip past the bottom of the first. Let's just go to wherever the pitching is right here. So here's up again Jordan, and Jordan is one of those batters that you really can't hit against him. You really can't. Now, I mean, you really can't pitch against him great. You can't do it consistently. He's going to take a yard at least once in his career, and that'll be in the season. So here comes a pitch that hits him off the ankle. I mean, that's one way to, get by and not have to pitch him. I mean, that's one way to get on base, too, for him. But at least it wasn't a homer, right? At least it wasn't a homer. So that one gets away from Scherzer and it puts a man on. So now, Jordan has to go, and here comes Jose Abreu. Jose Abreu was having himself a great postseason, but he strikes out here looking on a pitch. It's actually a beautiful pitch. Let's go back and see how he fooled him here. 100% his fastball. Comes out, immediately knows where he wants it. He wants it in the bottom of the zone. Abreu's expecting it to break down below the zone. It doesn't do that. It's a fastball. Goes straight into the low spot of the zone. He knows exactly that he struck out, and he walks right off. He knows he did. The second he sees it, he's like, yeah, I'm out. And he knows. So, again, the timing and pacing of where your pitches go affects a lot of things. But up now, you have Kyle Tucker. And Tucker hasn't been hitting great in this postseason. This one, he bounces in the dirt, and that's going to put Jordan on second. Easy. So now you got a man on second. And Tucker ends up going to first. So now they got a man on first and second. And that brings up Mr. Dubon. Now this pitch, as you could tell by the release, is going to be a breaking ball. And he knew it. It was known it was going to be a breaking ball. He knew it was going to be that. And let's see it one more time. The pitch selection here. Pitch selection is key, like I said. So he decides he's going to go breaking ball. And it goes right down into the spot that he likes. He hits the spot that Dubon enjoys. This is one of his favorite spots, by the way. You'll see when he swings. Let me slow this down a bit so you guys can see. I'm going to slow down the playback speed about a 0.25 so you guys can see this in slow. So as he comes out here, right, and releases it right there. Perfect. Okay, releases it. Comes over. It's going to come back over to this spot of the plate. Ideally, it shouldn't have been there. That one, knowing how he likes to hit and how he tends to load up and fire his bat, he has either the middle of the zone here he likes, where he can reach over here into the spot. Actually, really, no. He can reach up to here and down in an arc like that. So coming across this way. So he can't hit this corner. He'll have a hard time reaching for this corner. If you throw it inside, he's far enough back in the box where he can cut down and grab that. So the best spot to go was here. That is your sweet spot with Dubon. If you hit up here, down here, he can't hit that. He'll reach and swing, maybe tip it, but it'll be a grounder and it'll be a quick out. That's all it is. But in this case, he leaves the his breaking ball, his location was here. And this is right where he can reach in his swing. And this one he ends up getting a hold of right there in that spot, edging the zone, and sends this into left field. And by doing that, it opens the door to load the bases. And so he loads the bases. I'm going to keep the subtitles ready to go here. I mean, not the subtitles, the playback speed ready to go. So showing it again. Beautiful swing, beautiful contact. Holds up Jordan at third because, he's not necessarily the fastest guy. But it now brings up Pena. And so now they're in another one of these situations where they need something to work here. And now he hasn't been hitting great in this postseason. He's only batting at .227. Now Scherzer, in a 1-1 count with 1 out. In this situation, what do you throw here? Right? I'm asking you guys. What would you throw here in this situation? Would you go with the four-seam? Would you go with the breaker? Honestly, his four-seam has been great for majority of the season. I think his holdup is that breaking ball location spotting has been a struggle. He puts it in a bad spot thinking it's going to be a good spot where the guy can't hit it. And it ends up being the opposite. I don't think it has anything to do with him being incapable of placing it. I think he's just placing them in bad spots. He's physically making bad decisions and reads. Because on this pitch, he goes inside. And Pena, once again, look at where he is in the box. Even when I come back to about the 302 mark, look how far back he is in the box. Why in the world would you throw the pitch here? Why would you throw the pitch here? Anywhere from here in this zone over that way, he's going to try to hit it. He's going to go ahead and try and hit it. Because here, putting it here is, even though it's outside of the strike zone, he's got such control of his swing that he's going to make contact here. You're going to see it. Watch. As he loads up, he's already getting his foot placed inside to cut off the gap, knowing that he's going to want to come in here and go off the plate. He just knows that's what he wants to do. And Scherzer's going to come off the plate, hug the plate a little bit, but he knows that that's where he's going. He's going to take that. And then boom. Beautiful swing on that fastball. And he ends up popping this one up. I think he ended up popping this one up and it scored, or it came up shallow. Let me see. No, it came up as a pop-up. Nobody tagged, ended up being 2 outs. But again, they get away with this one, but that pitch, not exactly what you're looking for. You almost gave Pena, if you would have got a better hold of that, that could have easily been that could have definitely gone the opposite direction. But now comes in Maldonado. And Maldonado is a big power guy. This dude, he puts one on, he's going to send this out. Now here, you're on 0-1 count. He's releasing this one. He throws it into the dirt. And it gets away for a wild pitch. So that one seems more catcher, but you can't really do that and expect to get away with it. So Texas ends up allowing a run here. So Jordan scores on a pass ball, mostly because this one bounced. I don't believe it bounced off the plate. I believe it bounced out of the dirt. Heim wasn't prepared for it. It gets by him, and that scores a run. So that's what happens there. But that's another pitch that you got to have more control of that thing. You really do. You can make all the excuses in the world that every pitcher does it, but you know what? It doesn't mean it's right. And this one's another one, because this one actually opens up the scoring even more. So now it's 1-0 here. Here's the next pitch to Maldonado right after the wild pitch. Dead center of the zone. Look at that location right there. Look at that spot. Another fastball right there. You cannot be doing that. You just can't be doing that. Not realistic. We'll show it one more time. Releases here. Why are you pitching into the middle of the zone for Maldonado is my question. And why is it a fastball? If it's a breaking ball, I get it. But it's your fastball, and you're putting it in the middle, in a spot that's such a sweet spot for a guy like this. You're just giving it to him. Look at this. Right there. Beautiful contact. Everything. Hits the zone. He makes the adjustment with his arms, adjusts with the shoulder, and he puts the bat right where it needs to be, at the top, just at the top of that zone. and he makes the contact, and he gets a big hit here. And what I mean by big hit is, I believe this scored 2 runs. Got right off the third baseman's glove, going into left field. If I'm correct, this did score 2 runs. We're going to find out right now. This scored 2 runs. Yep. This play scored 2 runs, so it's going to be a 3-0 game, and Maldonado would be out at second. And even though he got out at second, Maldonado ends up, because he got a little, I think he was actually safe. I don't remember. But no, they ruled him out. So top of the third now. Scherzer's coming back in still. 3-0 game. Remember what I said. Altuve's up. And then Altuve does the Altuve thing. So he ends up going yard here on this pitch. Right? He goes yard. Let's go back a bit. And let's dissect this pitch. He goes yard and makes it a 4-0 game. This would basically be the end of the day for Scherzer right here. This would be the end of the day. Not the audio the quality of the video. Let's go 0.25 again. Once again, firing a fastball at the top of the zone. There's just... It frustrates me to see this constantly happen, especially with an experienced pitcher like this. This should not be a spot that you ever throw to Altuve. Not here. Nowhere up here should ever be a spot. I always like when they throw breaking balls, and what happens is it comes across the plate, but not in the sense of like it's here. It's like here. So like I love watching guys do that constantly to get batters. I love guys who throw breaking balls because a lot of the modern day hitters you see in the major leagues that are so good, they capitalize on fastballs and their usage and their placement. That's what they focus on. They don't focus on the breaking ball. They've stopped putting an emphasis on going yard on a breaking ball. You see it way too often. And that's why they strike out so much. Because they'll go sit there watching a breaking ball come out the zone and be like, oh, I guess I could have hit that. Okay. And that's it. They could have hit it because they know it's going to hit the zone. So as a pitcher, you have an advantage to know what pitches work in the zone and that batters don't want to chase. You know what it is. Why do you continue to throw a fastball in a spot that you know Altuve has gone yard multiple times in? Right there. That's it. This spot right here. Yes, is it above the zone? Sure. But look at where he is. Look at all the homers this man has had in his career. From right here in the zone to up here in the zone. That is his favorite spot in the world, is the top of these zones. I mean, he loves it. And he definitely made him notice out of this one too. Because his swing is more of like a top swing. It doesn't really like come down more with like with emphasis down low. He really doesn't do that too much. He likes anything that's a little higher because they think because he's a short guy, they could throw it high and he can't hit it. And he capitalizes off that thought process. And he just comes in and boom, right across the top. And you're like, oh shit. He just went yard. Oh my gosh, that's a double. That is quite literally Altuve in a nutshell. So for Scherzer, he can't be doing that against the D-backs because the D-backs will make it regrettable for him. They'll make it regrettable. So for the D-backs, that's what it needs to be. You need to be ready to capitalize on his fastball because that's clearly his weakest pitch. Clearly his weakest. And it sucks because it's not that he's a bad pitcher. Because he's not. He's a guaranteed Hall of Famer, whatever else you want to call it for him. Scherzer's issue is his decision-making. When he decides on a pitch, he puts him in bad spots, not aware of what the batters are capable of. And these batters for the D-backs are capable of a lot. So they need to be prepared, and he needs to be prepared for that. And you can't just go in there expecting they're just the D-backs. They're not going to really hit off me. I'm in full control. I like the confidence, but guess what? You're dead wrong. You're dead wrong if you're going to doubt the D-backs. They've been hitting really well in this series. It's the one thing you can't knock Arizona for. They have very good batting this year. Very good batting in this postseason. They weren't good this year, but in the postseason, phenomenal. Now, let's talk about Brandon Pfaadt. With Pfaadt, it's a little weird. Okay, 25 years old, we talked about that. This is a really young pitcher. Again, he had a bad regular season. 3-9 record, 5.72 ERA, 94 strikeouts, and a 1.41 whip. He was terrible. This postseason, he's got a 2 of an ERA. That's actually insane. And against these Rangers, he hasn't really faced them in his career. The only guys, at most he's faced one guy 3 times. That's it. And every guy except for Adolis Garcia has registered a hit against him. Only Adolis Garcia hasn't registered a hit against him in their careers. Simeon, Tavares, Lowe, Young, Jankowski, Heim, Hedges, they've all got hits off of Fod. Garcia has not. So, again, take of that what you will, but that's the situation here. So, this is a guy who hasn't pitched against these Texas guys much in his career. He's fairly new to the league. This is just, this is an unfortunate scenario for him. He's got to be prepared with everything he's got. And let's talk about, what it looked like this year and all the corrections. Let's talk about how Fod has really improved this year, in this postseason, I should say. Okay, we'll use the first Philly game we'll use as his reference. That was the game they won 2-1, which I believe was game 3. Yeah, game 3. We'll use the game 3 one where it was like a 2-1 finish and Arizona won their first of the series. And we'll compare that to some other games that he didn't pitch it well against. Let's see what his worst pitching performance was of the year. We could do the Yankees where they lost 7-1 back in September. We could do let's see what other games we got. Dodgers back in August when they lost in 4 games. You know what? That actually might be yeah, let's do that one. Because we'll do it with different approaches and we'll point it out that way. That's what I think is best. I'm thinking here, we'll do the Dodgers from October 11th in the postseason. And then we'll do the Dodgers from August 8th and compare the differences in how he approached them. Now, he did face Texas once and he won the game early in the season. I'm talking like May 3rd. And he had a very, very bad game against them. So you know what we'll do? We'll do the Dodgers comparisons. We'll make them real quick, and then we'll show you what he did last time against Texas and what he can do to improve on these pitches and what it'll take. Because pitching is key in this. Pitching is key. Dodgers, D-backs. What was the date we said on this pitching? August 30th. Give me 1 second. Thank you. All right. Let's go to the Dodgers game highlights from August 30th. And you guys can see what happened when Brandon Pfaadt took them out. So I'm going to pull that up for you guys now on this host-only screen. Thank you very much. And it's moving very slow because I did not take the thing off yet. So let me just go through this a bit. Sorry about that. Let me try to get this thing going. Go out to here. So this is where they were pitching. And then here comes Brandon Pfaadt. Pfaadt's going to pitch this one. All right? Let's see if we can find some differences in his approaches in this one compared to previously. So here he is against Mookie Betts, right? Here's his throw. And Betts gets a good hit off this one right down the middle. This really wasn't a good pitch to throw. Left it in the zone, not much break on it, 83 miles an hour. Watch it again. His breaking ball really is not at its best here. It's like slowly coasting in and just drops into the middle of the zone. Exactly what he's looking for. He knew the whole time it was going to the middle of the zone. It was going to get hit. Now he's up against Freddie Freeman, another really good hitter this year. Throws it inside, and Freeman, I'm pretty sure, went yard on this pitch. Nope, he went very close, but regardless, watch this how dangerous this pitch is. Right here. Throws it up inside and takes it. That was not a good pitch from Pfaadt. Again, that's back-to-back batters where the pitch where the contact was created did not go well. But he got lucky that it was an out, and it was a deep out. Now comes David Peralta, who actually was having a very good year this year for LA, and he puts this one on the ground. And this one's a quick ground out, I'm pretty sure, and then, nope, they got the double play, or the force. They got the force at second. But you guys saw the contact. They put into play. I would rather you put into play than let it go yard, honestly. And this is one that Carroll makes a phenomenal play and saves it from being a homer. But see how many deep balls were taken on these pitches? Here's another breaking ball that just, boom. It's a predictable breaking ball. That's what it was. It was predictable. Watch the release. Comes out there. Right back here. Let me see if I get a better shot of this. go back here a bit. Let's see if I can get a better view. I want to try and get a better view of this pitch. Right here. Right there. That's his release point, right around here. Okay? From a straight view, where he's targeting, a batter can tell that he's already got at least the middle of the zone here figured out for where this pitch is going to go. And it's going to be from anywhere from here in. So Hayward's going to wait for this pitch and see where it goes. He knows it's not going to be a high pitch because release angle is a little bit lower where his hand is. So he knows that it's not going to be high in the zone. It's going to be a little bit lower. So he's already predetermined it's going to be somewhere in this spot. So his bat needs to come somewhere in this quarter of the zone. So here it comes. Now you're here. It looks like it's coming back in a bit. And so he knows now. He's loading up. He's prepared. He knows it's going to come in and it's dropping a little bit. He doesn't know how low it's going to drop, but he's anticipating it's not going to be too much. Because he knows that Fott's breaking balls at this point were not getting the movement it needed. So right here, it's going. It's still going straight, and now comes the dip. And he knew the dip was coming. He predetermined the dip, was engaged, went through with it, made the contact, took it. Now I know that, again, this was a deep fly out, but see how there's so many deep balls being hit here? And he gets out of the jam. He gets out of it. Now we're going to keep going. I'm going to try to get past all this. Here we go. Now we got Fott again. Now that one was a better pitch. This is a better one to Outman. Great movement. Looked like it was coming in. Swings right back inside. Swings right back out into the zone from going from an inside pitch to a middle of the zone pitch, just like that. This pitch right here is one of the most incredible pitches you'll see. He has so much potential with this pitch right here, and you see it right here. It ties up a batter. He doesn't know whether or not to commit to it because he's thinking it's going to come outside. So he's stuck staring at it down until it hits the middle of the zone. You're like, oh, crap. Oh, crap, that was a strike. It's an amazing pitch. And now comes Rojas. Now comes his pitch in, and he swung and missed on that one. A fastball in. He's thinking, I'm guessing off the release here, because he's a righty, that he thought it was going to go in, and he wasn't prepared for that. It just kept going out and out, and in and in and in, and he kept thinking it was going to be hanging around here, waiting for it to break back out towards this side, and it was not happening. So he took on it, not anticipating it, and he got lucky that it didn't hit him. Now comes Barnes here, another good pitch, and this one gets him on the little sinking action. Now, if it wasn't Barnes, it was not somebody who was a 165 hitter, somebody like Freeman or Betts, they probably would have either held off the pitch or they would have went and been prepared for that and probably made contact on it on earlier pitch rather than that one. Now thoughts in again. This one going to Betts. Trying to go outside here, and Betts makes the contact. And by making the contact here, you guys can already see simple dipping motion, sinking motion. He got that. Super simple. The break on that specific pitch isn't phenomenal for him. And it really gets back at him. It goes back to you, gotcha. But he ends up, if I'm correct, he ends up not being safe. Yeah, he ends up being safe because of it. And Walker was able to keep his foot on the bag from bad throw. But now comes Freddie Freeman, who I tell you guys all the time. This is a man who will make you pay in the biggest moments. And this was 100% a homer. No doubter. Let's look at this homer. Release here. Right there. Boom. Already off the rip, he knows it's coming in. It's coming inside. Look at where the catcher's prepared up, right up over here. He knows it's going to be an inside pitch. He's just got to figure out how deep is the break going to be on this thing. And it ends up being not much because he goes right for it knowing it's going to be in this exact spot. It's actually wild to see this. He knew it was going to be in this exact spot, and that was his fastball. He anticipated a fastball, got a fastball right in that spot. He knew it was coming. There was no movement, committed to it, took it out to right. And this is where they would pour it on. It would just get out of hand really quickly right here. So we'll cut it there. We'll cut it off there. Welcome back to the Solo Reacts here again. I'm going to tell you guys, that's the difference. You guys see a little bit of a difference in the way Fod pitches there compared to now. Let's see what he did in the NLDS, right? He pitched NLDS Game 3 against the Dodgers. Game 3. Now, in the NLDS Game 3 against the Dodgers, it was Fod on the mound. And he did some, crazy, some really, really good work. I mean that. Let me just see if I got the proper... Let me just make sure he's the one pitching in this one. I'm pretty sure he is. I'm just going to confirm it. Yep. All right. So Fod takes the mound. All right. Now, this is a guy who's pitching again. He had pitched one game earlier for the Brewers, against the Brewers. He had done a great job. Now here he is up against the Dodgers in a big game here. They're looking to complete a sweep of the Dodgers in Game 3. Fod's trying to do this for the Diamondbacks. The Dbacks need a chance to go back to the NLCS, and they put the ball in his hands, trusting him to get this done in Game 3. The 25-year-old has an opportunity to get it done. Now let's see the difference between him and Mookie Betts here when he's facing him. Here comes the first pitch to Betts. Betts made contact on the 3-1 pitch. He anticipates it. But what's the difference in this four-seam already? Can you guys tell what the difference is? So the difference is it outside more or is it inside more on this pitch? This one's more inside. Now, he doesn't put it necessarily in the middle of the zone, but it continues to have a down motion. There's more motion on this four-seam than I thought. It dips down a bit, and so he has to perform a downswing on it. And by coming down on the downswing, it becomes more of a chopper. So this goes more to, this is easy play to third. He puts it on the ground. Longoria gets a quick out. Done. Here comes Freeman. This one on the breaking ball. Freeman makes contact on this one, and it is low in the zone. Now, what's the difference between this specific spot for this pitch compared to the other ones that Freeman likes? Freeman has a tendency to like inside pitches here for the most part. He likes anything on this side, and he likes the top up here. This zone he doesn't really like. He's not a big fan of this. But he'll make the contact if it's needed, and he can still send it pretty deep. He likes really anything except this main spot, right around here. And so this pitch hits that spot. This is called being aware of the batters and knowing what the batters like. Right here, dips right in. He knows it's a breaking ball. He knows it's going to break. It was breaking harder down than he thought it would be. And because of that, watch this play. It goes pretty far to the wall. I will give you that. It's still a deep, deep shot. But you're seeing less of that from Fod in this already. Now here comes the next one. This one, J.D. Martinez, one of the best power hitters in baseball. This one was bad. This was a bad pitch. This four-seam had 95, had movement from going outside back in. You couldn't have that from being it so far off the plate. But luckily enough, it was still close enough into play that Carroll can make it, and he's lucky it was getting pulled foul. But great play by Corbin Carroll to keep that alive. We're going to get past this. We already know what Lance Lynn did. We don't have to focus on Lance Lynn here. Gets out of it. Now let's see second inning against Muncy. Right here. Pitch. Goes drifting to the outside, but it forces a grounder. You're forcing the ball to the ground. That's perfectly fine. It's not a strikeout, sure. But if you force the ball to the ground, it's not a bad thing. I mean, there were players who were in Cy Young conversations for a long time because even though they weren't getting the most strikeouts in the league, they were getting the most outs, and they had low ERAs because of it. I go right back to the year that Johan Santana went with Cleveland, and he was up against Chin-Ming Wong. Santana, phenomenal strikeout pitcher, and Wong was just great at getting outs. And it was just because he had pitches that, he didn't have elite pitches that were technical to the point where they couldn't hit it because there was either so much motion or they were just blazers. It was just he put them in the right spots and threw the right breaking balls where when it would break and be put in the right spot, the player had to adjust his swing and it would cause it to have a different outcome than they wanted and expected from the pitch. Now you can see it with Hayward right here. This one, he again has to put it down on the ground because they keep thinking he's going to go higher in the zone or focus more inside and high or outside and high, and it's not happening. He's not giving it to them. He's keeping it lower than expected. All the pitches they're making contact on are low. It's actually impressive. He made such an adjustment, it's really helped them a lot. And I think this is when they started going crazy, putting on the runs here. Nope, they got out of the jam. All right. Now, up at the plate, you have Peralta. And Peralta swings on this one, and this one was an inside pitch and in the mid zone, right? Mid-inside. They're going to pull off the double play here, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, they pull off the double play. And now here comes Rojas. All the pitches are staying low that they're making contact on. He's trying to put them low in the zone, knowing that if he goes high, they're going to take it yard. And he's trying to keep that from happening in this. So I don't know what the pitching coach did, but he got in Fott's head, and Fott was able to make some amazing adjustments. And it helped him so much. It's really, really impressive. I mean that. Let's keep going. I got to keep getting past all the guys. This is when they went gung-ho and just started, getting so many homers and runs. It was unbelievable. They were going so crazy here. And then Lynn gets taken out of the game. And now here we go up against Betts. He's facing Mookie Betts again. What does he do here with this pitch? Now he finally makes the mistake and puts it in the left middle of the zone. More of an easy pitch, but lucky for him, he had the center fielder there who was able to kind of chase it down. I think he made the play here. Yeah, he did. He got lucky as Alec Thomas made the play, but that was another hit that if he wasn't playing and didn't have that fielding ability and that speed to catch up to that could have been very bad very quick. Now Jay Martinez on an 0-2 pitch. Here comes one again. In motion, gets him swinging and missing on this one. This is what I'm talking about. He's playing so far in this box that he wants to take an inside pitch. He wants it. What he does is he puts the motion outside more on this breaking ball from this release. And by going with this specific pitch, he loads up thinking it's going to break in over here or down lower, right? Or a little higher. He thinks it's not going to have as much break because depending on which breaking ball he uses, I believe it's his sinker kind of matchup. He goes and he throws it and it doesn't go as far down as we expect. And because of it, batters are prepared for it. They know his break isn't as sharp as others. This specific pitch, I don't know what it is. I'd have to really read the seams if they do a replay of it to tell you what it is. But this is one of those pitches that you don't expect it to really tie you up, and it did. It tied him up pretty well. And they didn't show a replay. Okay, let me see if I can get a better view of it from here. I want to say it's a slider. But I doubt it. I think it's more curveball. But look at that movement. One more time. Comes in. It starts here like it's going to start to want to drift left and then redirects and then changes its mind halfway down and starts cutting back to the right and then dropping. It's unbelievable. The pitch is disgusting. And that's a pitch that ties up batters. They called it a changeup. If that changeup is used efficiently and properly, it is the deadliest pitch in his arsenal. As you just saw, that changeup movement, that's ridiculous for a changeup. That is ridiculous. And it looks like a fastball the whole time. So that's what's really fooling him. Changeups look like fastballs, but they're just slower pitches. And because of that, Vaught has an extra edge here on this changeup that I really don't see. I don't really see this in the major leagues. I really don't see a lot of this movement. So this is actually a phenomenal pitch. And that's something that you see the difference. His pitch selection's different. His locations are different. He changed the way he's approaching the Dodgers. And so with Texas, he's got to do the same thing. Now, let's see what happened the last time he played Texas. I know we've been doing this for an hour, but I feel like we need to really go in depth on this because this is an important game. So when Fott played Texas earlier this year, that would be from May 3rd. So we're going to go back to May 3rd for this one, and we're going to take a look at that. So he opened up his career and season against them. Did he open up his career? I think is this his first year? Yeah, this is his first season pitching in the league, by the way. This is his first season in the majors as a starter. I want y'all to know that. This is first season in the league in the majors. Kind of remarkable when you think about it. And he's here doing all of this amazing work. So this was his first career major league game. So he had nerves in this one. There were some serious nerves going into this. You had to know that. So we're going to go off past the D-backs here who facing Heaney here. We don't really care what they did against Heaney unless Heaney ends up getting some starting appearances. So here we go. Here's his debut. 25 years old at this point. Here's the first pitch, swung on, and this one is grounded. Okay, so this one is hit into a grounder to short. Let's look at this pitch again. Immediately, this pitch, quickly low, keeps it outside. Simeon reaches for it, gets it, but it's put on the ground, and you get the out. Listen, there's no problems with putting a ball on the ground. Don't let it go in the air. That's how I always felt. Don't ever let a ball get in the air. Force it to the ground. Force the defense to make the play. Let the fielders do it. Because in the end, you can't be faulted for the contact. Because it was put on the ground, it's a play that a fielder should make. Especially if they are in a position to make the play. That's how I always felt. In the end, if it's on the ground, it's a playable ball. If it's in the air, I mean, that's a different story. That means you really need to be careful. Now, here comes Jankowski with this pitch here. And he took this one and he put it into center, which somebody was there to make the play. But let's rewatch what he did. Notice where the pitches are located in this start. He's keeping them low again. So these are low pitches once again, and it's becoming a continuing trend. This is what he was doing early. Now, this next pitch here we're going to see after... looks to be Thomas throwing it in. Let's see what happens here. Now you got Adolis Garcia. And he makes contact on this one. But see what the beauty of that pitch was? That pitch starts out right here. It's like a sweeper. And it comes across the plate, coming across this way. I have not really seen that pitch much. But he gets a hold of this one. He pops it up deep again. But he gets out of it. So they're all turning into pop-ups, but they're starting to get a hold of the fly balls. Oh, apparently he got a strikeout here. So let's go back to this pitch. This one's in Josh Young. Yeah, I know it says Jung, but it's Young. This pitch specifically gets him. The movement on this one is sick. This one's another sickening one. He's thinking it's breaking harder than it really is coming across. Remember, this guy's pitching in his first ever game in the major leagues. Like they said right here, it was MLB.com's 51 overall prospect. It was his first career strikeout in the majors. So he gets him. Congratulations. We already see the potential in you, man. And here comes Jonah Heim. And Jonah Heim just eliminates all the hopes and dreams you had by going yard right after that. So let's see what happened. I think you guys can kind of see that pretty clearly. This one comes out. Not much motion on this one. Not much break on this one. And he just read that all the way through. Put it in a completely hittable spot for Heim. Right here, it's coming right in. He knows it's there. And he takes that right there in that spot. So again, it goes down to what I said. Depending on the pitches you call and what you do, that's really what it is at the end of the day. It's not that a pitcher can't execute, right? I want that to be known. And this goes for the media people too who never played baseball and think they know baseball. Again, listen, I myself, did I pitch a little? Yes. I'll tell you the truth as well. I didn't play for my high school team. I didn't really play organized ball in the end. I played in little leagues and stuff. Yeah, I did play in leagues. But I wasn't in an organized league in the sense of like high school level or, like what do you want to call it? Semi-pro, whatever it was. I didn't do any of that. College, JUCO, none of it. I was somebody who played in organized leagues and was just always studying and talking to people and learning as much as I can. So I'm sharing that same knowledge with you guys. With these pitchers, you have to understand, the only way you could fault a pitcher is by making a bad call on a pitch. That's the only thing you can fault them on because they are executing the pitch that they call and they plan out. And they have pitch comm now, a better pitch comm. So the catcher and the pitcher are communicating with each other. What is the call here? Are we going fastball? Where do you want it? I'll line up in the spot. They always pre-line up in the spot. Like look where Gabby is. Look where Gabby Moreno is. Lined up right here. And he sets. And he tries to throw him off. But the giveaway is where your arm is standing. Where it's resting. And if he sees anything in his peripheral with where Gabby Moreno is lining up with the catcher, you've got a little bit of a hint. And here with this pitch coming out, he wanted it right here. And he got it right there. The problem was that was a bad pitch call. Now the question always becomes, is it the catchers who made the pitch call? Or is it the pitcher who made the call? Because I think the catcher offers suggestions and the pitcher just goes with it. And whatever the pitcher agrees to, in the end, it's an agreement like that. Like, okay, this is what we both agreed we're going to do. Go with this pitch, and then you go yard. Great, so that's our fault. We made that mistake. So you can blame pitcher and catcher. I think that was the plan, and that's why it went yard. It was a bad plan, a bad call. Yeah, they paid the price for this one. They paid the price. Big time. Big time. They big time made a mistake. And this one ended up going yard. And they paid the price for that. So let's see if there's another run here. See if there's something else we can capitalize on. Ezekiel Duran at the plate. Swing. Contact right there. Boom. Puts it in play. That was a great liner, honestly. Oh, did he make the play? Oh, he made the catch. Well, at least he made a good catch. I'll say that. He made a good catch. I won't go back and look at that again. But you guys see what happened. It was another sweeping breaking ball, and he just really took that. Not much you could say about it. Christian Walker, it's a 3-1 homer, looks like. Yep. And now Fott up again against Jung. And here comes Jung again. This one, beautiful, beautiful swing. That one goes out. So another homer here in a bad spot. This one released too far in. Now this one's a little different. Jung is actually closer to the plate in this one, in the box. And he winds up knowing that this breaking ball, it's like, here's the thing with Moreno though. Moreno didn't have a tell, which is great. He had it set like he wanted it here. He had it set like he wanted it there, and then he had to adjust out. And the pitch originally was going here. And that tells me there was a miscommunication between the pitch, the pitcher, and the catcher. Unless that was planned for Moreno to just, don't give a tell, just kind of like hold back a bit and only go when I'm about to release it and follow. That's it. But again, like that's the thing. And this was a pitch that really should not have happened. Sometimes you got to trust your catcher. And if the catcher was calling for something out here, there's a reason he's calling for that. In this case, Josh Jung, who, again, another rookie in the league this year, he just knows that it's coming right into that spot, and it's perfectly placed on the bat. Look at that. Perfectly there. So against guys like this, you need to be better against these players. It's plain and simple. You got to be better. Look at this. Just goes yard without any hesitation. No problems. It's a 3-2 game. It's only a 2-run game, so he's not having a bad game. It's just only a 2-run game. We'll say that, okay? So I'll give him his credit, and the D-backs are putting on a little bit of a clinic here. So now Leotis Taveras comes up. This one low in the zone a bit, tries to keep it low. Taveras likes it low, and this one goes out. Another homer. This one looked to be this was another one of his breaking balls, not too much of a fast one, and he just made a good read on it. This one they called. They called for that one. And I think it would have been better if you again, he sunk it a little more. I think it's crazy to see him use some type of sweeper motion here on a breaking pitch, and then see how much he's changed that and gone more on his changeup than anywhere else. I haven't seen a single pitch here where he used his changeup. By the way, I want you to make note of that. There's not a single pitch we've seen yet where he used his changeup. Did you guys notice that? So there's the difference right there. He doesn't use the changeup. So by not using the changeup, you see a completely different pitcher. Now it's complete. Now you're seeing the guy now who is a different pitcher than what he was the first time. I'm going to say that now. That's what I don't think Texas is prepared for. Fod is a different pitcher now than he was in May. In May, you had a young kid playing his first ever major league game, starting his first ever major league game, giving up some dumb homers. Some simple mistake, bad location, bad pitch call, miscommunications, and it led to 3 solo homers. Now, you're in a situation where the kid is gaining that confidence back. He's getting on a good stride. Things are changing for him. And now, he's got a new pitch in his arsenal that you haven't faced. You haven't faced that changeup like that. You haven't seen something that moves the way this one does. So now he's had the whole season to experiment with this pitching. Because again, this is your first season as a starter in the league. This is where you start to find your footing and find your fit. This is typically what it is. They don't expect you to come in and dominate right away. Even though the expectations may be pretty high, you have to come in and still have to figure things out. Because at the end of the day, you are a young guy playing his first game against veterans who've been there 8 to 10 years. And you really, really need to figure things out and make sure you've got pitches ready to go that they can't hit, that they're not prepared for. Something that sets you apart from other pitchers. I think Fod's got something here. And that changeup is one of the best you'll see. Again, the movement starts here from the release, starts to show it's coming in, and at the last second goes like this and down. You just don't see it halfway to the plate. It's like this and then right back down. It's an incredible pitch. Overall, I think in the end it's going to be the Diamondbacks winning it today. I think the Diamondbacks win the game today. And it will put an end to Texas's road win streak. I do really believe that. Again, it is no knock on Texas. Texas is a great team. But the pitches that Fod has been throwing and the way he has grown as a pitcher this season, especially, in this postseason, is ridiculous. And I think it's going to be the downfall of the team. So I've got the Rangers losing this one. Diamondbacks going to win this at home. They're going to take a 2-1 lead in the series. And Scherzer, do I think he's going to be better today? Yes. Do I think he's going to win the game? No. It's going to come down to, again, pitch location, pitch selection. And that's really what it is with Scherzer. Scherzer has that issue where his fastball gets away from him and he just puts him in bad spots. And yeah, like that. It's very similar to other pitchers we've seen. And that's usually what happens. Like I told you guys, this league has become more of a let's hit the fastball league. Let's hit the fastball. Unless you can predict where the breaking ball is and how hard the break is and the exact spot will end up, you're going to want a fastball every time. And as you saw with Fod there, when he gave up those homers that I just showed you in that clip, that was more because they knew, well, when you look at that, right, with Fod, that's because they kind of knew the break that was coming. So once you face him one time, okay, you come around the whole team one time, you're like, okay, I got a good feel for the guy, how his breaking ball looks. Okay, cool. Let's see what it looks like the second time around. Let's capitalize on that. Come around the second time around with this new guy. You know how much break he's got on that ball typically, what to expect when you see it come out when you're reading the seams, and you know where to put the bat because of it. And that's where they were starting to capitalize because he was starting to put them lower. Some of them were lower, some of them were more inside, and they were like, oh, piece of cake. And boom, taking them every time. And that's where things started falling apart for him. So it's just, again, it comes down to you have to make your breaking ball has to be at its best. Which means if they're expecting it to, they have to predict it. If they're at a point where they're having to predict and they're being consistently wrong, you've got a good pitch. You've got a really good pitch on your hand. If they're coming to a point where they can predict your break and make contact and get really good contact that gets some extra base hits, no, not good. You got to fine tune it, tweak it, do something because then that's on you. That's on you as the pitcher. And then again, if they got a fastball where you're mixing it in well enough that they're expecting a breaking ball and it's just going boom. That's really what it's meant for now. Now the fastball is just meant for not to get the guy out because it's the fastest pitch. It's now meant for to tie the guy up, expecting it to be a breaking ball. Because the beauty with Fott having this great changeup is he can throw it and it'll look like a fastball and get that insane movement. But he'll throw the fastball and they'll think it's going to break and it has maybe a slight bit of break, but it doesn't have enough to really convince you of anything. Again, if Scherzer can get something like that going, where his fastball is mixed in well, because it's not his best pitch anymore, and he gets a good breaking ball going here, again, just like he had earlier this season when he had his first career start with Texas, that's what will help him win. That's it. I think they're going to win today? No. I think the final score prediction probably I'll say 5-2. I'll say 5-2. Fowler will give up a couple runs. Bullpen will close it out. 5-2 victory for the Diamondbacks. That's my guess. 5-2. And that brings us now finally into NFL Week 8 recap. But that's the full gist of World Series. We're done here. An hour and 12 minutes. Well, not really an hour and 12, but an hour and 6 minutes to talk about the World Series Game 3. We're not going to do this with NFL. I will not let that happen. So we'll make it fairly quick. If you guys are still here listening, thank you guys so much. I don't know how you guys deal with me sometimes, man. I don't know how. I can go off on tangents forever. So, let's do this. All right. Going to the NFL. As you guys know, game on Thursday. Buffalo played their game. We went through a whole breakdown of that on Friday. Bills beat the Bucs. You guys know the story. Not happy as a Bucs fan. Now, going down into Sunday's games. Let's start with the first one. Cowboys-Rams. Cowboys in Dallas. We had scoregami, guys. We had scoregami. Another unique score. 43-20 was the final in this one in favor of Dallas. For those who don't know, scoregami is a concept that was created years ago by a data analyst who was a big researcher in sports for stats, and they came up with the idea of plotting out every NFL score that's happened, how many times it's happened, and basically if there's a score that's never happened in the history of the NFL, an outcome, is considered scoregami. First time ever, that's the term. We had one yesterday, one we haven't seen in a long time, the 43-20, which has been anticipated so many times, and we got it with the Rams and Cowboys. That was my favorite part of the game. The other cool part, CeeDee Lamb, man. CeeDee Lamb showed up and showed out. 12 catches, 158 yards, 2 touchdowns. He made his presence known yesterday for Dallas. He made his presence known. Great game from Dak Prescott, too. 25 of 31, 304, 4 TDs and an interception. Sacked 3 times, but a great game against this Rams defense. Stafford got hurt. That's a really good summary of how that game went for you. Stafford got hurt, 13 of 22, 162, a TD and interception. Not a good game for him. They had nothing going on the ground, 92 yards total from the team. And top receiver yesterday for LA was Darrell Henderson, because Puka Nacua had 43 yards and Cooper Kupp had 21. Not a good game passing-wise for them. Brett Rippon had to come in and fill in for Stafford, and they just didn't look good. So that's that. Rams end up getting crushed here. Rams fall to 3-5, and Cowboys go to 5-2. Vikings-Packers. The Vikings got the win in Lambeau, but at what cost? The Vikings won 24-10. They are now 4-4 on the year at 500 again, and the Packers are 2-5. With the trade deadline looming tomorrow, expect the Vikings to make a move because Mr. Kirk Cousins had a tragic injury where he basically tore his Achilles. He just had an Aaron Rodgers moment. Went to plant his foot to go run, and you just see it the ripple effect you see when you watch the replays in the calf. He got hurt. He tore his Achilles. He's done for the year. So Cousins, 23-31 yesterday, 274, 2 TDs, no interceptions. Filling in for him was Jaron Hall from BYU, the 5th-round pick, the rookie. 3 of 4 with 23 yards in relief. Sacked once. Jordan Love, though, proving why, again, the Packers made a huge mistake. 24-41, 229, a touchdown interception. Not a great game from him. They really couldn't get the offense going anywhere else. Nothing on the ground game. Leading rusher was Jordan Love, go figure. And on the ground for Minnesota, Madison with 31 yards on 16 carries. Receiving-wise, KJ Osborne, 99 yards in the air. But a touchdown for Hawkinson and Addison as well. Addison, 82 and a TD. Hawkinson, 88 and a TD. Receiving yards for Green Bay, their leading receiver was Jaden Reed with 83 on 4 catches. The one touchdown went to Romeo Doubs, 4 for 18 yesterday. But what really killed them was the fumbles. The Green Bay fumbled the ball at least twice. And, this was not a clean game at all by any means. Each team had a turnover, came back to bite them. But in the end, the Vikings just dominated every other front. It's unfortunate now because now they'll likely have to make a trade to make up for the fact that Cousins tore his Achilles. And now they want to make the most of the season. You got to go get a quarterback. Unless you really trust Jaron Hall to keep your team afloat. Speaking of rookies, let's look at the Falcons and Titans and the arrival of the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Mayo Man, Mr. Duke's Mayo, Mr. Hellman's Mayo, Will Levis. What a start he had yesterday. Titans won this one 28-23 over the Falcons, who had been touted as one of the best pass defenses in the league. This man went out there and put on a show in those Houston Oilers throwbacks. Will Levis, 19 of 29 for 238. Doesn't seem like too much. But 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. That man was lights out yesterday. I'd love to see more yardage down the line. I'd like to see a little bit more in the passing game. But overall, what a performance from Will Levis. On the ground, the 149 yards, having that balance really helped them a lot too. They had a balanced run attack, which really contributed to their success. Derrick Henry, 22 carries, 101 yards. Tyjae Spears, 3 for 27. Passing-wise for Atlanta, Taylor Heineke had to come in for Desmond Ridder because Desmond Ridder, concussion, and then he cleared concussion protocol, and then he got benched. I don't want to speculate because I don't want to stir up rumors, but I'm going to confirm one thing. Arthur Smith went into a press conference afterwards in the post-game presser and said that Desmond Ridder was benched not because he was not playing well, but because there was something wrong with him, and they did a concussion test just to check him out to make sure if that was it. That wasn't the case, so just to protect him, they didn't put him back out there. So that's the reason why they benched him. I mean, whatever works in the land of Oz, that's whatever works for you, man. That's it. But Taylor Heineke came in and relieved 12 of 21, 175, a TD, no interceptions. Bijan Robinson finally got his carries back this week. 11 carries, 62 yards, and a TD. Leading receiver was Kadero Hodge with 75 yards on 3 catches. The 1 touchdown receiving yesterday was by Scotty Miller, or now goes by Scott Miller. 2 catches for 14 and a touchdown. And both teams had their fair share of fumbles. We'll add that in there too. I mean, 1 turnover from each team, but the fumble came from Malik Willis. If I'm correct. Yeah, it came from Malik Willis. Now, one man who really benefited from all that yesterday, DeAndre Hopkins. 3 touchdowns on 4 catches for 128 yards. That man was a deep ball threat all day. It's like there's been memes all over the place. Brady and Moss from the Patriots. It's like the same situation again. It's the joke they're making. It's like the same thing all over again. Levis and Hopkins. Absolutely ridiculous. But the Titans get the win regardless. Titans win, beat the Falcons. They now go to 3-4. Falcons fall to 4-4, 500 record. Saints and Colts yesterday. The Saints beat the Colts 38-27 in a good bounce back game for Derek Carr. 19-27, 310, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Great game from him. Gardner Minshew, though, 23-41, 213, 2 TDs, 1 interception. Not his best game once again. On the ground, though, the leading rusher for New Orleans, Taysom Hill. 9 carries for 63 yards, 2 touchdowns. And Alvin Kamara had a touchdown and 59 yards on the ground. For the Colts, it was Jonathan Taylor at 95 on 12 carries. And Zach Moss as well contributed, still 11 for 66 and a TD. In terms of receiving, that's where things get interesting. The top receiver yesterday, you would have never guessed it for New Orleans. It's Rashid Shaheed. 3 catches, 153 and a touchdown. Another receiving touchdown also gets credited to Alvin Kamara with 51 yards in the air receiving and a touchdown on 4 catches. Indianapolis, though, Josh Downs, I guess we'll take it. 72 yards receiving. And 2 passing touchdowns went to Michael Pittman Jr. for 40 yards, 8 catches, 1 TD. And Drew Ogletree, 1 catch, 33 yards for a touchdown. Great news for both of them. Great games. Honestly, great games. And so that's going to bring us over now into the next game. But Saints are now 4-4 at 500 record. Colts 3-5. Again, what do you expect the Colts to do when they don't have their rookie quarterback playing and out for the year? Patriots Dolphins. Should I really go over this? I think we kind of know how the outcome went in this one. Patriots lost this one 31-17. Mac Jones once again regressing, not looking his best. 19 of 29, 161, 2 TDs, 1 interception. Tua, though, 30 of 45 through 24, 3 TDs, 1 interception. 1 pick, which is, progress for the defense for the Patriots. Ramondre Stevenson, 39 yards on the ground. Elliott, 36. Not much in the run game yesterday for New England. Miami, though, 46 from Mostert and 23 from Wilson. A rushing touchdown for Mostert as well. In the receiving group, Kendrick Bourne, leading receiver, 36 yards and a touchdown for New England. Unfortunately, that's all he's going to have the rest of the season because he officially has a confirmed season-ending injury. I think they said he tore his ACL. His season is over. So the Patriots are now down to our pretty thin at receiver again. Once again, it's going to be down again to what we were talking about before. Probably going to be Juju, Jalen Reagor, and Devontae Parker, unless they got other guys above them. Miami receiving. 2 guys went over 100 yards yesterday. Jalen Waddle, leading receiver, 121 and a touchdown. Tyreek Hill, 112 and a touchdown. I love to see it, man. And outside of that, I mean, any other big performances? Not much big performances on the defensive side. A few sacks from each team. Nothing too crazy. 1 for each player. No multiple sack game. for a specific player. And I hate to have to do this, but I have to go over the Jets-Giants game. I have to go into it. I don't want to, but I have to. Jets-Giants yesterday. Well, I was right about my pick. We'll start with that. I was right about the Jets and Giants. I was right about the outcome of that game. The Jets won this game, and I don't think anybody should have won this game. If there was a way to elect to not win this game, I would have taken it. I absolutely would have taken it. And unfortunately, that was not the case. Because the Jets had to win somehow. Zach Wilson, 24 seconds? No problem. No problem. Gets the win. He literally tied the game in 24 seconds in the Jets-Giants game. And then went to overtime and won the game. When they played like crap the whole game. And let me add in there. The Giants, Tommy DeVito was starting. Dude. Tyrod Taylor gets hurt. Once again, he gets hurt. Has to go to the hospital to get his ribs checked out. Tommy DeVito is the emergency QB technically for the team. So he has to start. And on the backup side, if Tommy DeVito, God forbid, gets hurt, it's Saquon Barkley at quarterback. So now, the Giants' response today is they have decided they're going to clear Daniel Jones to return to action. He will practice on Wednesday. What in the hell are they thinking? They're going to get this man killed. They said he wouldn't be ready until week 10. Now they're going to rush him back. Because, again, how are you going to save a 2-6 season as a Giant? I can't. I'm not even a Giants fan. I'm getting pissed off for them. Oh, you fans deserve so much better. 1-3 at home now. 2-6 on the season. Jets are 4-3. Somehow above 500 with Zach Wilson. Don't even get me started. Saquon Barkley, good day. 36 carries, 128 yards. Garrett Wilson, leading receiver for the game. 100 yards, 7 catches. Not even going to go any deeper into that. Oh, no, I will add one more stat. -8 passing yards. That is my final statement. -8 passing yards yesterday on 11 passing attempts the entire game. 4 alone from Tommy DeVito, who took over midway in the second quarter. 4 passing attempts the rest of the game with Tommy DeVito midway through the second. And shout out to Big Blue in the Bronx for going out there and getting that big question out there, asking Dable about what the plan was with the lack of trust in DeVito to throw the ball at the game yesterday. I'm complete respect to him for doing that in the press conference. Shout out to you, Alex. Jaguars Steelers yesterday, 20-10 victory for the Jaguars. They go to 6-2. Steelers fall to 4-3. Bigger story, Kenny Pickett was injured in this game. Mitchell Trubisky had to finish it out, and unfortunately he was not able to get the job done. Lawrence finishes 24-32, 292, a touchdown interception. Mitch Trubisky filling in for Pickett, who was 10-16 for 73. Trubisky was 15-27, 138, a touchdown, and 2 interceptions. On the ground, ETN, 79 yards on 24 carries, over 100 for the day for the team. Pittsburgh, leading rusher was everybody? I don't even know how else to put it. Jaylen Warren, 19 yards on 5 carries. Najee Harris had 7 for 13. Trubisky, 3 of 18. And then Pickett and Calvin Austin had 10 each. So 70 yards on the ground. Don't even get me started. Evan Engram, leading receiver for Jacksonville yesterday, 10 catches, 88 yards. The one receiving touchdown was to Travis Etienne, 70 yards, 3 catches, 1 touchdown. Receiving for Pittsburgh yesterday, top receiver was Deontay Johnson, 8 for 85. The one receiving touchdown was by George Pickens, 1 catch for 22 and a TD. And yeah, that's really it. If you go to the defensive side, we'll give our credit to a couple guys who got multiple sacks. Josh Allen, 2 sacks for Jacksonville yesterday, and Landon Roberts, 1.5 for Pittsburgh. Good gains for them. But again, Jacksonville proving themselves, flexing their muscles, showing that they aren't a pushover team anymore. They're now in the top 4 tie for the number 1 seed in the AFC. They're now in that group. Eagles and Commanders, once again, it was somehow a close game. Eagles pull out, though, and win 38-31. They're now 7-1 in the season. Commanders fall to 3-5. Let's go through a quick summary of this one. Sam Howell, really not a terrible game from him. It really wasn't terrible at all. 39 of 52 for 397, 4 TDs and an interception. Only sacked once. Hallelujah. Jalen Hurts, 29 of 38, 319, 4 TDs, no interceptions. It was a better day for Hurts, yes, but Howell had a good game, really good game, which shows promise for Commanders fans and dread for the Eagles. Now they're scared because they just went out to go make all these trades to upgrade their defense, and now, oh my gosh, the defense is selling. On the ground, DeAndre Swift, 57 yards on 16 carries and a TD. Overall, the team had 59 yards, which tells you how bad the run game was. Washington's was better. Brian Robinson, 10 for 59, no touchdowns. 84 as a unit. Philadelphia's receiving. A.J. Brown, 130 on 8 catches for 2 touchdowns. 2 other touchdowns went to Devonta Smith, who had 99 yards in the air on 7 catches, and 1 more for Julio Jones, who gets his first touchdown as a Philadelphia Eagle. 1 catch, 8 yards. Washington side, top receiver of the day was Jahan Dotson, 108 and a touchdown, but also touchdowns to Jamison Crowder, who was 7 of 95, 1 for McLaurin, who was 5 of 63, and 1 for Logan Thomas, who was 6 of 44. And in terms of defense, in terms of sacks and everything, there wasn't a multi-sack person, so we will not acknowledge it. Usually I know people would love to acknowledge a multi-interception or multi-sack game, but I haven't seen that. This moves us now to Texans and Panthers, Houston and Carolina. Carolina won this one by 2, 15-13. Carolina securing their first win of the season and making it so that we do not have any more winless teams in the NFL as of now, week 8. Carolina, Bryce Young finally had a decent game that kind of was very telling for him to show he was a better quarterback than we expected. C.J. Stroud came back down to earth. Bryce Young, 22 of 31, 235, touchdown, no interceptions. Sacked 6 times, though. That's kind of brutal. C.J. Stroud. Give me 1 sec. Sorry about that. C.J. Stroud, 16 of 24, 140, no touchdowns, no interceptions, did absolutely nothing. On the ground game, Houston dominated. Dameon Pierce with 46 yards on 12 carries. The 2 touchdowns that did come on the ground were from C.J. Stroud himself running it in. And then now also you could add to that list Andrew Beck, who is 2 carries, 1 yard, and a touchdown. You guys apparently can no longer see me, I'm pretty sure. I think you guys just lost me. They just lost me. They just lost me. Oh, God. I think you guys can still hear me. My camera's completely shot right now. And I froze. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to restart the stream. I'm still here. Don't get me wrong. I'm still here. So just give me 1 second. I'll figure this out. I may be frozen, but I will be back. Promise you guys. All right. Sent it in the chat so you guys know. So you guys can still hear me, but my camera's frozen.